And who better than the
Right.
vice president of baseball operations for the Los Angeles Dodgers? Our friend Alex Anthopoulos joins us. Alex, thank you very much for doing this. Good to talk to you again. Um, I was going to ask you where to begin with Cody Bellinger. I mean, I've watched. I got to admit, I've got the MLB package, and I started watching. I always kind of focus on the Astros, and I focus on the East. But you guys have got me watching a lot of Dodgers games right now because of this kid. Just tell us a little bit about him.
No, he's been very exciting. Last year, obviously, was my first year with the team and my first spring training. So this is 2016 spring training. He was there, and he by far stood out as the best player in spring training. And he'd had a good season the year before in the minor leagues in the power department. There'd been some talk about trying to cut down on the strikeouts, but overall, very athletic, Gold Glove type defender at first base. Could play all three outfield spots, and he just stood out. And obviously, you see what he's done in his minor league career. He's been unbelievable. But the tear he's on right now is incredible to watch. And probably the most impressive thing I've seen was we played the Indians a little bit earlier this past week, last week, and he hit a home run off Andrew Miller and Boone Logan both. And both of those guys, as we know, are murder on left-handers. And to stay in and, to do that against those guys, that's probably the thing that's been the most, I've been the most in awe of, I think, with everything that we have seen him do.
You talked about this kid was impressive in spring training last year, your first year with the organization. Um, and you went through some of the reasons why, obviously. But Alex, I know we talked about this in the past. You're a scout. You've done a lot of scouting. What would be the first thing, if you were dropped down and you didn't know who this kid was, and you saw him on a field and he's playing, what would be the first thing you'd notice? Just the quickness of the swing, or what would be the first thing you'd notice?
Well, it is the one thing you see, the athleticism, and like the body type are always the first thing. The first thing you look at is what type of body do they have. First thing that came to mind when I saw him, he looked like Sean Green a little bit. Wiry, lean, long, and just the way they move. Athleticism, it's interesting. A lot of people can debate it and how they value it or how they quantify it. But not everyone views athleticism in the same way. But the way this guy moves, his body control, his agility. Look, when you see him step in the box, when you see the swing, the bat speed is off the charts, but it is a big hack.
Mm-hmm.
It is a big, that bat comes through, it basically ends up hitting his back. But he generates so much torque and so much power. And he's not necessarily a big, thick guy at all. He's tall, but he's loose, he's quick. And again, when you see guys like this, I always like to look back and take a look at old scouting reports. I watch draft film, and I did take a look at the film of him out of the draft out of Arizona, and he pitched as well, and he looked great off the mound as well. And you want to look back and say, why did he slide down to where he did in the draft? He clearly should have been a top pick. As an industry, what did we all miss? Especially when it's a high school player.
Right.
There's not a lot of data you're going to go off of, but. You look at his father, his background, bloodlines. The swing is somewhat similar to what you see now. He was athletic. Looking at some of the reports we had here, it's not completely surprising that this was going to be the type of player he was.